Hello everyone. We'll be starting today's lesson by watching a short video clip of the grand reveal of the Tesla Cybertruck in 2019.
Welcome to the Cybertruck unveil. We created an exoskeleton. Nice. Now hit the Cybertruck. Let's show the glass demo. So first, this is regular glass. This is like normal glass, car glass. I want to show you what happens with normal car glass. Now I'll show you Tesla armor glass. Yeah. Slow down. Yeah. Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah. Sure? Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard. Sorry?
So in this lesson, we'll be talking about the career of mechanical engineering, influential engineers, education required to become a mechanical engineer, and then a short home activity at the end. So what is mechanical engineering? Engineering is the application of science and math to solve problems. Engineers figure out how things work and find practical solutions for scientific discoveries. Scientists and inventors often get credit for the innovations that advance the human condition, but it is engineers who are instrumental in making those innovations available to the world. So there are many fields of engineering, such as civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and chemical engineering, and many more. But today we'll just be focusing on the subfield of mechanical engineering, which involves design, manufacturing, inspection, and maintenance of machinery, equipment, and components, as well as control systems and instruments for monitoring their status and performance. This includes vehicles, like in this demonstration, construction and farm equipment, industrial installations, and a wide variety of tools and devices. Simply put, mechanical engineering deals with anything that moves, according to the Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science at Columbia University. Mechanical engineers still use basic components that have been known and used for centuries, such as wheels, axles, levers, screws, springs, and hinges, to make machines such as vehicles, farm machinery, household appliances, robots, and industrial equipment. So thinking back to the demonstration from the beginning, what are 3 examples of mechanically engineered products in our example? So going back to our simplified definition on our previous slide, mechanical engineers build anything that moves. So in a car, like wheels are responsible for moving the car. So that's definitely one mechanically engineered product. The engine of the car has many moving compartments. The windshield wiper has many moving compartments. The air conditioning system and the heating system also has many moving compartments. So these are all examples of mechanically engineered products within the demonstration. The field of mechanical engineering is also incredibly relevant to the world today. Recently, there was this headline in the news: Biden to tell U.S. agencies to review fuel efficiency standards, overturning Trump. And just to clarify, fuel efficiency standards is talking about the number of miles cars can get per gallon of gasoline. So how will policies like this impact mechanical engineers? So policies like this will incentivize and pressure mechanical engineers that work for car manufacturing companies to develop more efficient engines that can meet up to the new standards set by the new administration. So now let's talk about the history of mechanical engineering. So mechanical engineering can be traced back all the way to ancient Greece and ancient China, where earlier versions of mechanisms like screw pumps, steam engines, clocks, and seismometers And even some differential gears were invented, according to the American Society for Mechanical Engineers. And throughout the past few centuries, pioneers in this field, people who built the machines for which they became famous, were plentiful. They include James Watt, who developed the steam engine, Robert Fulton, who developed the steamboat, which allowed for more efficient travel via water, Johannes Gutenberg, who invented the movable type printing press, which increased the education of the common people by allowing the wide distribution of books. One of the most famous books being the Johannes Gutenberg Bible. Eli Whitney, who developed the cotton gin, and then Henry Ford, who developed the automobile assembly line and who was also the founder of the Ford Motor Company. What is something that you notice about all of these famous engineers? So engineering, like with many other fields in science, is a field that has traditionally been dominated by white men. So taking a look at some data about the distribution of engineers, just under 50% of mechanical engineers working today in the United States are white men, with 18 being white women, 14 being Asian men, and 7 being Asian women. The field of engineering over the past few decades has come a long way in terms of both increasing the representation of racial minorities and women. However, there's clearly much more work that needs to be done. Now we'll be talking about two famous engineers that have influenced the field. The first is Elon Musk, the founder and CEO of SpaceX and Tesla Motor Company.
February the 6th, 2018. Elon Musk launches the world's most powerful active rocket, catapults his Tesla sports car into space, and vertically lands 2 of the rocket boosters simultaneously. For most engineers, this extraordinary feat would be the pinnacle of their career, but for Elon Musk, it was just a Tuesday.
It's really crazy that we build these sophisticated rockets and then crash them every time we fly. This is mad.
When he's not launching rockets, the entrepreneur can be found running a futuristic electric car company, selling flamethrowers, plotting a super-fast underground transport system for Los Angeles, and even offering assistance in foreign emergencies. It's perhaps no wonder Elon Musk was a source of inspiration for Robert Downey Jr.'s billionaire business magnate come superhero, Tony Stark. Born in South Africa to a Canadian mother and a South African father, Musk was a voracious reader, and age 9 even turned to the Encyclopedia Britannica when he'd run out of books. An unusual, introverted child, he was bullied, once so severely that he was hospitalized for a week. But this didn't hinder his pursuit of knowledge. By the age of 10, he'd taught himself computer programming. By 12, he'd made a video game and sold it to a magazine for $500. You can still play Blastar online. Musk's empire began in 1999, when he and his brother Kimball sold their software company, which provided city business guides to newspapers. Aged just 27, Musk reinvested his $22 million windfall into X.com, a company which promised to revolutionize how we transfer money. A company you may now know as PayPal. When eBay acquired PayPal in 2002, Musk took home $165 million. Without taking a moment to catch his breath, the young entrepreneur turned his gaze upwards and set up Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX, with a mission statement of enabling people to live on other planets.
You want to do projects that are inspiring and that make people excited about the future. Life's got to be about more than just solving problems. You want to get up in the morning and say, yes, I'm looking forward to that thing happening.
2 years later, he directed his disruptive thinking to renewable energy, and in 2004 set up the electric car company Tesla.
All transport, with the exception of rockets, will go fully electric. I see the value of Tesla as a catalyst in that transition.
Musk's most desperate moments came in 2008, when SpaceX suffered a third rocket crash, and Tesla's rising costs threatened to ruin the firm. That's not to mention an episode of Top Gear, which Tesla said damaged sales.
Watching show is much more about entertainment than it's about truth. Like, his 2 pet peeves are American cars and electric cars, and we're an American electric car, so we're...
SpaceX scraped through, thanks to a new government contract. As for Tesla, some last-minute financing and a $465 million government loan helped it survive. But even today, questions about profitability loom over the company, which has lost billions of dollars. Musk himself is no stranger to controversy. His baseless allegations against a Thai cave rescuer sparked a libel case, and his 2018 tweet about taking Tesla private and a very public but legal toke of marijuana on a YouTube podcast displayed his somewhat cavalier attitude towards shareholders. But the future does look exciting, as the eccentric engineer plans the first moon journey by humans since 1972 with billionaire passenger Yusaku Maezawa. And this is really just another stepping stone to Musk's ultimate goal, to reach and colonize Mars and beyond, a plan which he says could happen as soon as 2024.
Either we are a multi-planet species and out there exploring the stars, or we are a single-planet species waiting around for some eventual extinction event. It's really that I personally find more motivating. Going and setting up a base on Mars would just be the greatest adventure ever.
So something that really stood out to me about Elon Musk was that he was always a disruptor and he was always a dreamer. He never believed in following the rules. He wanted to go to space, so he worked really hard to develop innovative solutions through mechanical engineering principles so that he could go to space. And the same can be said about his vision about the role of electric vehicles in America. The second mechanical engineer we'll be talking about is Wanda Austin, the CEO of the Aerospace Corporation.
The teacher stated, "You are an ornament to the class, and you may become a great mathematician if you live to the age of Methuselah. I rather think it will take about 900 years for you to reach that point."
So as a result, I became, more and more convinced that math was more my kind of field. You work hard, you get an answer. So I grew up in the South Bronx, the inner city. My father never finished high school, but went to work and became a barber, and that was his life trade. He worked probably 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week doing that. We lived above the barber shop. Many times we had to actually go and carry water up to the house from the street because the water in the building didn't work. Heat was something that, sometimes was there, sometimes it wasn't. Many of the kids that I grew up with never left that block. Many of them were strung out on drugs, of teenage pregnancies. Crime was a part of your daily life, and you just learn how to operate in that environment. It makes you have probably a thicker skin. There was a fire in that building, and because of the crime, they had gates across all of the windows so that people couldn't get in. Well, we couldn't get out. My father climbed up a different building and came across the roof in order to get us out through the windows. So, a very trying experience. And most people think about the projects as being a tough place to live. Well, we were really excited when we got to move to the projects because that was a significant improvement from where we had been. I had to take 3 buses to get to school. That was part of the integration effort. The tension was for a young black girl to be bused to an all-white neighborhood, that there were a lot of people who maybe didn't think it was a good idea. It was a good educational background, but it was very isolating in the sense that it was a drastic difference from the environment that I lived in and the environment where my friends grew up. The rule in our house was your only job was to go to school. Both my parents recognized that the path to the future was through education. So I was the first in my family to go to college. And of course, I worked part-time during the year and full-time every summer. So every summer since I've been 16 years of age, I always had a full-time job.
She knew what she wanted to do. She knew where she wanted to go. She worked hard. Her God-given talents came through, and there was little wasted time.
There are always going to be stumbling blocks in your life. You're never really sure where they're going to come from. But that it's important that you take the attitude of turning those into stepping stones.
So now, how much do mechanical engineers actually make? The average salary for mechanical engineers, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is roughly $87,370. However, the range of salaries varies greatly, with the bottom 10% earning around $56,000 a year, with the top 10% making over $136,000 a year. So speaking of education, let's talk about some key actions you can start taking this year to become a mechanical engineer. So starting in high school, the 2 classes most important for preparing you for a career in mechanical engineering will be physics and calculus. These are classes that you'll most likely have to take again in a mechanical engineering undergraduate program. So taking them in high school and getting a strong foundation in these classes will pay dividends later on. Furthermore, if your school offers some type of engineering elective, that is highly recommended so that you can start getting in the mindset of thinking like a mechanical engineer. In terms of extracurriculars, I'm trying to join a science club or an engineering club, and also many colleges in your area should be offering summer enrichment camps in mechanical engineering or engineering in general. Mechanical engineers typically need a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering programs usually include courses in math, life and physical sciences, as well as engineering and design. So more specifically, many programs will require classes in chemistry, calculus, linear algebra, and physics, and then some engineering specific classes such as thermodynamics, statics, and fluids. In terms of extracurriculars, try to get some experience working on complex projects with peers. And schools in Texas known for their mechanical engineering programs include Rice University, UT Austin, Texas A&M, Southern Methodist University, and UT Dallas. So during college, many students will choose to pursue research during the summers or also internships with companies during the summers in engineering. Although graduate school is not required, there are graduate programs available. Oftentimes, people who have aspirations to move up within the field of mechanical engineering will pursue a graduate program. Some colleges and universities offer 5-year programs that allow students to obtain both a bachelor's and a master's degree. Some 5-year or even 6-year cooperative plans combine classroom study with practical work, enabling students to gain invaluable experience and earn money to finance part of their education. So now, before we start our home activity, let's just watch this quick video clip that will demonstrate what we'll be doing. So that was an example of a Rube Goldberg machine. A Rube Goldberg machine, named after American cartoonist Rube Goldberg, is a machine intentionally designed to perform a simple task. So in this case, to splash the singers with paint in an indirect and overly complicated way. Usually, these machines consist of a series of simple chain reactions. The action of each triggers the next and so on, eventually resulting in achieving a desired goal. Each part is usually a simple machine. So, your job for today's activity is to design your own Rube Goldberg machine. So there are going to be two different levels. Right? The first level, level 1, is going to be a machine that includes at least 5 separate components, and I'm going to challenge you to include at least one type of ball and one type of book. And then, of course, since this is a machine, you should be accomplishing some sort of task. The task can be something as simple as closing or opening a door, knocking something over, feeding your cat or your dog. However, there needs to be a task at the very end. If you're up for a challenge, try to include 10 separate components in your machine. Within the 10 components, have at least 2 changes of height, so maybe something can be dropping from a table or going up or down a ramp. Try to include 2 balls, 1 string, and then 3 books like dominoes. And then again, this is a machine, so you have to accomplish some sort of task. Some friendly tips for designing your machines is to 1, identify a task to accomplish, and then work backwards from that task. So if your task is to simply close the door, figure out one way to close the door, and then figure out another step that can come before your final step that can help you close that door. Start small and build on. Work with other people, include some friends or family members in developing your machine, and then of course aim to have fun, and if you would like, post it on TikTok to become the next viral sensation. Here's an example of a machine that students your age developed to accomplish a task.
And feed the dog. Excellent.
All right, thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.